All right, so I've accepted a challenge I gave myself to get back into baseball. So this is a Baseball Almanac 2020. Now, I do know how baseball works. I used to watch baseball a lot. And I do still watch Jays games when they're on, which they're not right now because sports are stopped. But, looking through this, there's a lot of information for me to take in. There is one thing on here on how Moneyball's evolving, so I need to go through that. But it gets into new era of Moneyball. Business and sport, the economics that underpin the entire enterprise also changed dramatically. Few things have shown that better than the last two off seasons, which owners and front offices have frozen out free agents and focused on cutting costs instead of adding impact players. I don't see it that way. So I don't talk about baseball on the Hockey Channel, but I want to talk a little bit about something I saw last year, which was that certain free agents stayed out there for a long time, and players were all mad. And they're like, this is collusion. This is GMs getting together and deciding they're not going to sign certain players. I didn't see it that way at all. The way that I saw it was players are overvalued. So you look at the amount of money that a team's paying a particular player, and they're saying they're not worth it. Now, eventually those guys got their money. But I agree with teams that are saying, you know what, it's not worth it. And if you watch Moneyball, the movie, which I have many times because it's a very relaxing, very calming movie. I don't know what it is about that movie. It just calms me right down, and I really, really enjoy it. And it shows that I really do enjoy baseball because I really enjoy that movie. And I enjoy the messaging behind it, which is you can throw a team together and compete. Now, to win, that's where the Oakland A's had a problem. Billy Beane never won a World Series with the teams he was putting together. He did well, but you do need a combination of the Moneyball approach and the money to keep some guys around in order to make a championship team. Now, not that Oakland did poorly last year or anything either. I do keep track of Oakland. That is a team that I absolutely keep track of year to year, partly because of Moneyball and partly because I kind of took a liking to Oakland after some of their players were gone. I was never a Canseco fan or a McGuire fan. Never was a big fan of either of them. Now, the thing that stands out when you're looking at baseball, and the thing that puts people off and tended to put me off as well, you've got Baltimore with 108 losses, Detroit with 114, Kansas City with 103, you've got Miami with 105. But that's not the only bad teams. If 95 losses make you a bad team, well, the Pirates had 93, so that's not bad. Pirates. 94 for the Mariners, who were supposed to be getting better, and 95 for the Blue Jays, who had kind of a run at the end of the season to avoid hitting 100 losses themselves. There was some speculation at one point they could hit 100 losses. It gets tough with those numbers to look at baseball and not say, who's leading? Well, the Yankees, big spenders. Houston Astros, well, they slapped and clanged their way to that spot. And it is actually, I want to throw all kidding aside, it is too bad that the Houston Astros have been this good, and they'll be remembered for the cheating scandal. That overshadows everything they've done, including last season for me. It's all overshadowed. Because even after you stop doing that, people are still like, yeah, but how legit's that? And then the Minnesota Twins, who kind of are doing what the Kansas City Royals did a few years ago, where, oh, look, we're good, and then, oh, we can't afford to keep everybody. The Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, and the LA Dodgers. The Dodgers with 106 wins, and the Braves with 97. The Yankees with 103 wins, and of course, Boston had a historically bad season compared to what they were expected to do at 84 and 78, which means you got to fire guys like Dombrowski and everything. The one thing that I think caused me to stop tuning into baseball, and I'm going to do my best to fight my way through this again, is that it felt like the teams that spent the money won. And the teams that didn't spend the money were basically a feeder, a minor league team, to the guys with the money. I know that baseball's not going to get a salary cap in all likelihood, but man, it would be nice to see some parity in baseball. It would be nice, and I say this as a fan of the Padres, and as somebody that kind of took up the Pirates years ago because I was tired of seeing them lose all the time. They're still losing all the time. It gets difficult, and I really applaud people who can go to a ballpark where they know the team's not spending money, they know the team's probably not going to be any good, and yet they still show up every day and they still support the team. I salute that. It gets difficult. And it gets difficult for fans in any sport to support a team that consistently lets you down, that consistently proves they're not good enough. And I think the hardest part with baseball is, like I said, where it feels like the teams that don't have the money are feeders to the big organizations. So as I dive into this almanac, and I'm going to, it's a meaty book. This has 544 pages in it, and it has everything in it. It has everything you can imagine in it. I'm a little disappointed it doesn't have the career numbers for all the players, but that's okay. It's got the numbers from last year, and it gives me a good starting point. And I have to say, I know there's people who are going to say, there's not going to be a season this year. There's no point in getting into it. Okay, people want to make that statement. That's fine. But for me, as much as I love hockey, and I do, and my main channel's about hockey, I have kind of missed, baseball. And being really, really into baseball. Now, what do I like about baseball? I like small ball. So when I'm watching a baseball game, I like small ball. I like the chess match that is, okay, do you steal now? It's a hit and run. What's the count? I'm really a big fan of pitching duels. So if it's a 1-0 game in the 8th, I'm right there. I'm on that. Now, when it's a home run derby, I'm not as interested. When there's another home run and another home run. So the whole fact that they've kind of made it so it's easier to hit home runs because the ball might fly a little further, it does tend to affect my fandom of the game. ERAs being just ridiculous in some cases. Understandable with Colorado because you've got the thinner air. But at the same time, I've seen the argument against Colorado players because, oh yeah, he got home runs, but look, he's in Colorado. Larry Walker being a good example of that. Like, well, yeah, he hits well, but it's in Colorado. And then you look at the stats and you get into it. He hit well no matter where he was, but Denver Air gets the credit. And finally, he gets into the Hall of Fame after years of frustration. But I will definitely go through this. I guess the question mark I have is if you're a baseball fan, let's say you're a fan right now of the Royals. You're a fan of the Brewers. I'm trying to think of another small market team here. The Reds. Orioles definitely have small market feel to them in terms of their results. And just if you're an A's fan too, like, so as somebody who went out and started getting A's stuff, and I have an A's hat and I have an A's jersey somewhere around here, how difficult is that year to year? How difficult is it every year to go, all right, training camp, brand new clean slate, or does it wear on you as a baseball fan? Does it get to the point where you're like, you know what, I can't do this anymore because we feed the big teams, we watch these players grow. And then when they want real money, they go somewhere else. We see that with the Blue Jays on some level, where as soon as a guy comes up, Vladdy Guerrero, one of the first things you hear is, yeah, but how long is he going to be a Blue Jay? How long is it going to be before he goes somewhere else? And that's frustrating. It's frustrating to see a guy out there on the field that you like. And you're like, this Bo Bichette guy looks pretty good. And Kevin Biggio is going to become a pretty good player. But when they get good and they want money, they're probably going to go somewhere else. I can say that as somebody who watches the Jays, I'm not even a Jays fan. I was an Expos fan, so still waiting for Montreal to come back. Please bring Montreal back. That would be nice. With being somebody who watches the Jays a lot because you get exposed to it a ton on Sportsnet, I don't know, it gets kind of frustrating to watch player and go, he's pretty good. When he wants real money, he'll probably want to go somewhere else. He'll probably end up with the Yankees or the Dodgers or maybe the Red Sox. So let me know what you guys think about the whole small market versus big market thing and just the whole baseball question in general. I already follow football pretty darn well. And so baseball's that blind spot that I have. And it's not that I don't follow baseball. It's just that, again, I'm exposed to the Jays and I pay attention to some of the playoffs. But there are a lot of players that I'm like, oh, who's that guy? Oh, all right, so he's got 15 wins. I should know who that is. Or there'll be a batter that comes up and I go, oh, I don't know, I haven't heard of that guy before. Oh, he's batting 320. That's pretty good. All right, so this is to make sure that I try to close those spots up because there are teams that, again, maybe you don't follow because, they're just feeders for the big teams. Well, let me know what you think. And again, I am a Padres fan. I've been asked how I became a Padres fan, and it's simple. Steve Garvey on This Week in Baseball and other baseball shows that they had at the time that were geared for kids. And then Twib Notes. I remember watching that and Twib Notes being a big thing. And I like the colors. I like the fact that it was brown and yellow. I thought that was different. And yeah, I was a Padres fan right out of the gate. And I thought Padres was a cool team name too. I thought that sounded different. And then with baseball, I was a big Expos fan as well, right up until they moved and they got robbed the one year that they didn't have a World Series. That was Montreal's. Montreal should have won that World Series. I never really let that go. So if you're a Montreal fan and you didn't let that go, me neither. And if you're from the other channel, you're going, wait a minute, you don't like the Habs, but you cheered for the Expos. Yep, I know. It's one of those weird things. And of course, I became a Red Sox fan mid '80s. The Bill Buckner move. I went, you know what? I want to see these guys win a World Series. That was terrible, and I just lost money to my dad because I bet on the Red Sox to beat the Mets. I don't know what I was thinking. I learned about the Babe Ruth curse after, and I was like, oh, I really shouldn't have bet on them. I should have bet on the Mets. I should have told my dad no, but I owed him $10. So I lost money on the Red Sox, which meant I had to cheer for them until they won it, and I let out a huge cheer when they won their first World Series. That was great, although to me, they won it with the 3-0 series comeback, right? The series before that, that was just mind-blowing. And at some point in time, I'll do a video on here about that comeback as well. So there you go. I have 3 teams in baseball as well. And to some extent, the Pittsburgh Pirates, because they've got to win at some point, right? They have to at least be 82-80, and then we can have a big parade for the Pirates for finally getting there. I think they have to have the old-fashioned Pirates hats, though, the ones from the late 70s. That's what they need to wear full-time in order to get back to what they did in 1979. That's the last time they won the pennant. So we'll see. There you go. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your attention and your time. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing right through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, again, let me know. If you're a fan of a small market team or a team that's small budget, how tough is it from year to year to really get excited? And if you're not excited for the team, do you just get excited about certain players? Then do you follow them when they go to, say, the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Red Sox and keep an interest in them? Or does baseball just take your soul out, step on it, and you give up and go to another sport? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I will talk to you again soon.